Skobile. A mobile Street Fighter gacha RPG with a dose of Granblue. How the hell do you play it? I mean, no shit there's a tutorial, no shit there's loading tips, no shit it's a simplified mobile game, but even still, how the hell do you play it? Well, that's what I'm here today to answer. Many other guides and content creators like Zeow, Kevin Pepino. And I think there's one other guy, look at things from the high levels down and let late game opinions bleed into what should be beginner knowledge. So I, being the totally reasonable man I am making a secondary account to demonstrate my knowledge and tips firsthand. With that out of the way, here's an introduction to Skobile.
They don't know.
Chapter 1, Basic Fighting Shit. While it is just a basic fighting game on the surface, there are some special things you should be aware of when playing. You can safely dash back from any normal that doesn't end your string, meaning you can't cancel it into another move. If something ends a string, whether it be special move or button or blockbuster, it is unsafe and you can punish it. Charge attacks are not safe on block, which is obvious, but once they are upgraded to be unblockable, you can use them to start devastating combos. And the AI will give you a plethora of opportunities to start said combos at every level, it is just about you finding them. Chapter 2, AI Fighting Shit. When using a character at a lower level, anywhere below 4000 rating, the AI will always mash on wake up. This is important because you can absolutely slap them for it if you time it right. Meaning you will keep the AI on defense for most of the match. The only exceptions to this rule are rift battles and boss nodes like holodeck hazards, which I'll get into later. While it's good to be aggressive and use your grab/charge attacks to open the AI up, more often than not you'll find it more helpful to dash back and block, or intercept, the opponent after you learn how to. As the AI is a stupid robot that doesn't think about advantage, blocking it more often than not gives you a free chance to beat the opponent's face in. Just don't do this when it has a level 3 blockbuster, as more often than not you will die for it. Aw man. Get used to looking at the opponent's move list and knowing if they have a burst. This is important because if you misread the situation and the opponent has a burst, not knowing what they had will cost you the game and you will feel cheated and start melding and get absolutely PP gamer ragey when all you had to do was cut your combo short by like one hit to secure the kill. But what will cost you the game more often than not is just not knowing how best to utilize your combo tools. As the game teaches you fundamental things, it won't teach you what you need to know, which is optimal combos. Chapter 3, How Combo Shit. You know that launcher and that sweep the game taught you? You know how it said to air juggle? Ignore those things to hell and back, you only should air juggle if you don't know how to do anything else. Most characters can go into another grounded chain after their launcher, and those that don't often have much higher damaging ways to follow their juggle anyway to where the argument didn't matter. After hitting a launcher, what you can do is do another few grounded hits into a special, and you can probably keep repeating this process depending on which moves you're hitting with. The best characters to learn how combos work with are Philia, Eliza, Peacock, Squiggly, and Annie, as all of the above have very good combos they can do and reward you heavily for learning how they work. If you don't have those, don't fret, you're at no large disadvantage thus far, but eventually, you should have them. Chapter 4, What is my shit? Many new players often struggle due to a lack of a goal and a lack of understanding of how to get there. Skobile is one of those games that instead of having one main goal, there are a few silent goals that need to be completed to make it very far in the game. Being a beginner's guide aimed at levels 45 and under, your goal for the early game should be the following. Have a good, upgraded option for every character in the game, even if you don't like them. Beat as much of the stories as you can, whether origin stories or otherwise. Be able to consistently beat challenges like beginner and advanced holodeck hazards, and harder story mode nodes. That said, the best ways to do that are knowing what you should and shouldn't do. Here's the gist of that. Chapter 5, What shit should I do? Assuming you hit level 25, you will have all different game modes unlocked. Here is a perfect description and tip for all of them. Story mode. All of the non-origin beginner stories don't cost energy, use these to practice and level up characters for basically free, as leveling them up here refills their energy for dailies or prize fights. Beyond that, if you don't have a specific thing you're looking for from other events, these are your main goal. Daily events, free XP in a can. Holodeck hazards is hard, but one good win on there alone is worth 4000 or more XP, so it's not like it isn't worth the difficulty.
What the fuck is that?
Spend one ticket to try it, and if you know you can't beat it, beat other dailies. If you beat them now, you can skip them later and still get free money. This is one of the many reasons having a good copy of every character is a good idea. Prize fights, only go for like bronze or silver or a Medici on these as the rest don't give enough for the time wasted. Story mode gives so much more for less, just do that until you're strong enough to get good streaks. Parallel realms, free money in a can. It's annoying because permadeath and permadamage, but get someone with a Reagan taunt or a Reagan ability, or maybe just a Valentine, and you're golden.
Made it! Money! Made it! Money!
Hello, nurse!
Rift battles, this button shouldn't exist for you until level 60. Even if you were the best player in the game and easily deleted everything in your path, you don't have the resources to build a proper defense base and thus will only lose points when they inevitably revenge your ass. Not worth the effort until then. Versus, literally gives nothing. Knowing how to do these things is great, but what are the best ways to do these things? Let me answer that in a brief way by talking about the characters of the game and common beginner picks. Emergency fuck up edit. After this point, my rendering broke due to an unspecified and large horde of uncensored materials that the global Skobile comedy didn't quite like, so I'll restructure this now. Before I go talking about what you should and shouldn't upgrade, it's best to not put the gas before the car and tell you how the hell you're supposed to upgrade these things in the first place. Yes, there is a specific way to do so, and there are many golden rules to it that determine basically your entire experience with Skobile. And if you don't know those rules, you're going to bend yourself over, get royally fucked, and then get butthurt like the game wasn't fair. Chapter X, How to Upgrade Shit. I'll keep it succinct and just explain the rules to follow and why you should follow them. First up, always upgrade your skill trees in this order: top path to max, bottom left path to max, top left path to max, and you pick between the other two. More stats and more move slots are nice, but the top path is basically everything that makes the character, and the moves then do the rest. Doing it in any other order will leave you with pseudo-useless junk that won't give you your money back. Next, you really don't want to upgrade moves. With very specific exceptions, I will say here. Chaos Banish Eliza, because it's a one-button answer to a good chunk of your problems, Drill Tempered, Philia, and Dragon Bite, Squiggly, for similar reasons, and that's mostly it. Upgrading moves to level 5 and above comes at a much later portion of the game, but if you have enough money to get it to level 3, that's all you really need, if you even need it at all. This is the most important rule of all. If you're sacrificing a fighter, it is for transferring a shiny or evolving only. Never sacrifice a fighter for literally any other reason. Each fighter in the game is not stuck at its starting rarity. You can make a bronze into a silver, into a gold, into a diamond if you wanted to. How you do that is with other characters of the same type: 3 bronzes to make a max level bronze silver, 4 extra silvers to gold, and 5 frickin' golds to diamond. Losing something now means you're gonna be opening a hell of a lot of relics to get it back later, even if you don't need it for upgrading. There is nothing sacrificing a fighter does that other things simply don't do better, except for evolution, as that's the only thing extra fighters really do. And the second most important rule: this guide is for levels 45 and under. You should not be upgrading golds or diamonds. A base bronze fighter's skill tree costs 500,000 canopy coin, a silver 1 million, a gold 2 million, and a diamond 4 million. Unless you have a bank you can pull out of your ass or a magically granted shiny gold. Below level 45 you usually can't afford to get what you need for golds, and especially not diamonds, as the coins alone make it next to impossible, even disregarding the skill points and keys. Plus, there are a good few silvers and some bronzes better than diamonds anyway, so who really gives a rat's ass about rarity? Speaking of which, let me get back to the main video and my short review of beginner recommendations. Let me answer that in a brief way by talking about the characters of the game and common beginner picks. Chapter 6, Character Shit. Every character in this game is worth having an upgraded copy of, but exactly which copies are up for debate. The rule of thumb is don't upgrade Big Band, Cerebella or Painwheel unless it's an extremely specific variant, and from there it's fair game. Save that, it's technically okay to pick anyone you like early on. There are many commonly considered good, beginner, variants that get recommended to players however. And I will talk about each and every one of them that I know and why they do or don't hold up. I am putting a bronze and silver tier list right on the screen right now, so you can look and see what should or shouldn't be upgraded. By no means is this in any order. And by no means does it force you to upgrade in that order. The only general rule is don't upgrade anything in the green or blue tier, as those are what I cut off to being a waste of keys and canopy coin. Bad hair day.
罠だ。
罠よ。罠だね。
Cut the last two words friend, she's nothing but bad. I'd argue worse than Parasite Weave, because at least Parasite Weave can do something unique and useful. Bad Hair Day's whole gimmick gets beaten by a special move, Ringlet Spike, for the same character type she is. By learning how to use Ringlet Spike in a combo, which isn't as hard as it sounds, any Philia can do Bad Hair Day's job better than Bad Hair Day, and she doesn't even give you that much value as the game goes on to make up for how lackluster she is now. She won't help you learn Philia, she won't help you learn the game, she won't help you later, she won't help you. Pick any other Philia if you have them, beat her daily, get a few copies of Ringlet Spike, perform this combo, profit. The only excuse you have upgrading her is you have nobody else, and Philia is still overall a good character. Cold Stones.
This my shit. All the girls stomp your feet like.
Kinda cold. Not the best as the game goes on, but certainly worth it now. Free stuns, free damage. Teaches you a little bit of how to look at tools and special moves to exploit character abilities. Not bad by any sense of the word. Purrminator.
I mean, it's alright, like, overrated as fuck in my opinion. I mean,
she has some use once you get to the really high level, but you're not making it there for at least another few months, and at the current moment she is doo-doo buns. She doesn't give you anything of value right now that other Robo Fortunes don't, and she has a few glaring problems that Purrminator mains don't want to tell you. First, it's not a % increase like it says, you only gain like 50 or so damage per critical hit. Second of all, it doesn't care about move investments, those little percents at the bottom of the move, which at a high level makes her a bit harder to use than other Robo Fortunes. If you want a cool critical hit snowball fighter, you're in no shortage of better options, especially in silver. If you want a good Robo Fortune, you're still in no shortage of better options, as yknow, M3 and Vector exist. Nonsense.
Was Hercules ever like, yo, I don't wanna fight Cerberus?
I don't care if you don't like double, upgrade a nonsense. She absolutely deletes many common problems from the game if you learn how to use her a little bit. One of the only bronzes actually worth diamond, and both one of the most fun and powerful starting characters in the game. Beatbox, the literal only big band worth upgrading. Just make sure you have an unblockable blockbuster and a few moves, and you profit. Sheltered, spend every last cent you have on this lady if you get her. Often considered one of the only bronzes worth taking to diamond, she not only hits like a freight train full of dynamite, she actively boosts your entire team's crit rate to help them hit harder too. Her sister, Heavy Rain, isn't quite as good, but both her and Sheltered are worth every last cent it takes to max them out. Again, the only general rule is don't upgrade anything in the green or blue tier, as those are what I cut off to being a waste of keys and canopy coins. Most of the hot takes that I didn't mention here I will make a dedicated video on to explain why I see them the way I do. That said, that about wraps up what I had for this guide and how you should go about your starting journey in Skobile. Thanks for watching. I'm Skunkle the Idiot, and I'll see you in the next guide I make.